What's going on, everybody? I know it's been a while, but I'm still here. It's about 8 o'clock in the evening. Getting ready to move some bees to some canola. The same farmer that I worked with a couple years ago and had bees on sunflowers, he's grown canola the past 2 years. He wanted me to come out last year, but because of the fire and everything, told him I wasn't in a position to make it out there, but I'm gonna try it this year. He's got a full section that he wants me on. It's not a solid stand to canola. It's got some playa lakes and stuff in it that don't have anything on it, but still be plenty for these bees regardless. Got level this thing so it'll quit going crazy. I'm gonna move around 80 colonies to the canola. Problem is, they're all here situated pretty kind of close, all within a mile, but it's 3 different yards, and that's the different locations is what adds time to moving them. So needless to say, we're going to have a late night. It's going to be moving them about 50 miles, so getting these 3 yards loaded up and strapped down and everything on the road is going to take 2 or 3 hours. Hour there, hour back, and then however long it takes to unload. We're going to have 2 yards on the field, the south end and the north end. So that'll be less time, but still going to be a late night. Looking forward to this canola. I think hopefully it's going to help these bees out quite a bit. Haven't done a video in a while, so to do a quick recap for those that are who know, last year we had quite a few colonies burn in a wildfire, and after that, all last year was just not good. Everything was messed up. But probably the biggest mistake I made was during all the chaos of the aftermath of the fire and the recovery and the cleanup and all that, I was pulled in several different directions. Needless to say, I didn't get my spring treatment on my bees for mites. And on top of that, the forage, there was a severe lack of forage last year. We were terribly hot and dry, just like a lot of the country was, I think. There wasn't much pollen last year, hardly any nectar. So I went through the spring and actually the summer too without any treatments. Last fall, I treated in mid to late September. I did Apiguard, 3 rounds a week apart. And then in November, due to the Apiguard shutting the queen down, then when I was done with that, she started back up. And because of that brood dearth she went through, she actually went longer into the year. Usually my bees go broodless around Thanksgiving, but at that time they still had some brood in there. So around the beginning of December, I started my oxalic acid vapor treatments. I did 3 rounds of that about roughly a week apart each time. So then fast forward to now, I got just very few colonies who are doing good, I would say. Most of them are, everything is pretty much smaller than it should be. I didn't have massive losses. I had about normal losses over the winter, but everything's a lot smaller than it should be. Oh, and I'll rewind again to last year. Just because of all the environmental factors, the colonies didn't produce very many drones at all. We were severely lacking in drones, and I didn't, in my haste in spring beekeeping, I was making splits, trying to make up for my losses in the fire. And I kind of glossed over the fact that there weren't the amount of drones that I needed. So as a result, all of my new queens, I don't think are mated as good as they should be. So therefore they're reluctant to lay a bunch of brood up. So then that's kind of why everything's smaller than it should be. One of the factors, I believe. But now, it's March 30th. We've had some pollen and a little bit of nectar coming in, so they're starting to fire up a little bit. Some of them are looking pretty good. Then there's still that percentage they're struggling pretty good still. But I'm hoping, and they're already laying more drones than they did last year, so that's good. Looking like I'm going to be splitting the end of April. I was wanting to do it earlier than that, but just got to go by the timeline the bees give me. So anyway, all that said, looking for this. I'm hoping this canola will give them a good boost. Never done it before, so I don't know, but I'm thinking there's going to be a pretty good strong flow of pollen. Probably nectar as well, unless we get really dry. Where that field's at, they got a pretty good snow earlier this year, so there's probably good moisture down in the soil profile, I would imagine. But I'm hoping these queens will lay pretty good, and hopefully I can get, 2 splits off of most of them. Some of them, hopefully I can get 3. And my main goal is just to get my new queens mated really well, so I can kind of shape everything back up and get it to where it needs to be, because right now it's not where it needs to be. So all my rambling, I could have been loading bees. It's nice and cool. It's probably in the 50s right now. We've been really warm in the 80s. Cold front came through, so I'm gonna try to take advantage of this cool weather and move some bees, so better get after it. So to kind of go back and talk about my mite treatments from last year, I was going to say that the other day I was trying to decide on my spring treatment for this year. I used to do the apivar strips, but I'm wanting to get away from those. But I was trying to decide between Formic Pro or the extended release oxalic strips, specifically the Viroxan. So in order to decide which treatment was best, kind of needed to know where my mite levels were. So the other day I did some washes and I actually couldn't find a mite. Now I don't think that I'm mite free. What I think is what mites I do have are under the cappings of some brood, but I'm hopeful that that wash does mean that my mite numbers are low. So I decided to go with the oxalic strips because they are, I've never used them before, but what the research I've read and people's experiences that I've read about, they say the strips are pretty good at keeping your numbers where they're at and not letting them grow any. So in that, I was really not wanting to do the Formic Pro because I figured it was going to affect the brood production that I'd have out of these queens, and it's already kind of hampered, so I didn't want to hamper it anymore, and much less for almost 3 weeks. So the oxalic strips were really what I was hoping for. So hopefully we can keep these bees fairly clean of mites, and that'll eliminate one problem they have, or could have. The Ezyloader is so much easier on the bees. If y'all followed my channel in the past, I used a skid steer and a flatbed gooseneck trailer to move them, and man, it worked and it got the job done, but it was a little rougher on the bees than I would like. Alright, there's first yard. Get it strapped down. Head to the next one. Alright, 11:15 and all loaded up, strapped down. Kind of like playing Tetris, loading all this different stuff up, trying to keep the yards together on the truck. On down the road we go. Well, 2:30 and we're headed home. I meant to get some footage showing the bees after they were out, but kind of forgot. Doing all right. Tiredness wise, just fine to drive home, so I can get on home, take a quick shower, and get a few hours rest. April 2nd. Canola is just starting to bloom. We're on the north side of the field here. Got 30 colonies set out. It's in the low 50s right now with a pretty stiff breeze, so there's not a whole lot of bee work going on right now. There's a little bit. I've been out here just for a few minutes. I haven't seen any pollen coming in, just looks like nectar. So for anybody who hasn't seen canola, go take a look. Here's the main head, I guess you'd call it, and then it has all these other branches that are going to be blooming too. Still got a little bit before it's all in full bloom, and this is a solid yellow field. So got another yard on the south side. Let's go take a look at it. This yard over here, we actually got a little, there's a dam built here. It's kind of a drainage coming from the north. They built the dam to kind of stop the water. So I put my bees up here because it's kind of bare ground and won't have to worry about any vegetation overgrowing them. Except for these kochia weeds, they're going to take over after a while. Big play lake over there, they can get water. Or if it'll rain enough, like they're saying it's about to in the next couple of days, might get some water over there. Yep. The bees are out on canola, so first time doing it, so I guess I'll see what happens.